just want to welcome you guys for taking the time out to share with us each week or each month rather for our sessions. I do hope that you guys are ready and well equipped with your paper or your books and the pen for your notes. And if you have any questions, you guys are free to ask your questions at the end of the presentation. Also, before we begin, I'll ask for persons not to place anything in the chat section unless it's a question pertaining to the presentation, and not to unmute your mics unless you're asked to do so. All right, everybody clear on that?
Yes, miss. Yes, miss. I did not hear what you just said.
Yes, miss.
Before we get into the program, we're just going to whisper a prayer. You know, just ask God to be in the midst of everything. So let us pray. Heavenly Fathers, we're about to begin another session of an Apprentice Scientist. I just want to ask for your divine intervention in our session today and just always to be with us in everything that we do. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Let me kind of. Okay, so just to get you guys in the groove, I'm going to ask Miss Teona Thomas, our Museum Programs Officer, to start us off with a little icebreaker, and it's a little teaser for you guys before the presenter comes to us. And I want you guys to guess what the topic is about based off the icebreaker that you guys will be participating in right now. Also, I want you guys to place your email address in the chat section, and also the school that you're visiting from or the organization that you're joining us from, so that you guys can get a shout out during the program. All right, so Teona, we're ready for you. You can go ahead with the icebreaker.
All right, so here we go. All right, guys, so the clue is the letters that are in pink, those are the starting letters for the word. So you're gonna get 2 minutes to unscramble these 5 words. You can place your answers in the chat and Miss Parks will let you know if you guys are correct.
That's correct. From Johanna. No, Jamaica, number 3, that's wrong. You have to guess again. Number 1, that's incorrect, Ariana. Go again, try again. Okay, Tishane, that's correct. Forest is number 3. Go again, Naoki. Try again. Okay, number 5, Blossom. Okay, that's correct. Number 3, Forest.
So we're almost there.
Okay, so we got the right answer for number 1. That's Botany.
All right, so we're out of time. All right, so number 1 was Botany, number 2 was Orchid, number 3 was Forest, Number 4 was vegetation, and number 5 was blossom.
Okay, thank you, Teona, for that warm-up session. I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. Icebreaker that you guys just did. Can anyone guess the topic for today? What it will be about? Anyone can guess and tell me?
Flowers.
Flowers.
Okay.
Flowers.
Flowers and plants, yes. Okay, so you guys are correct. So today you guys will be learning about plants and how we collect plants and how we can preserve those plants whenever you collect them. Anybody here interested in plant collection?
Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
Okay, anybody anybody ever hear the word botanist?
No, miss. No, miss.
No, miss.
So you guys don't know what a botanist is then. So you guys will hear all about that today. So that means you guys will learn something different. All right. So you can run and tell mommy who is a botanist. And if you want to be a botanist, that would be great also. All right. So with no further ado, I will introduce the presenter for today. So the presenter for today is Miss Sasha Lee Cross, who has been the assistant botanist within the botany department of the Natural History Museum of Jamaica for the past 6 years. Ms. Cross holds a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of the West Indies, Mona, where she pursued a major in applied plant sciences and a minor in human biology. She also went on to pursue an advanced course in tropical botany offered by the Florida International University. At the Natural History Museum of Jamaica, Ms. Cross focuses on collection of taxonomy, research, and the publication of Jamaican plants and herbarium management. She has assisted in the curation of a number of exhibitions on Jamaican flora and is the lead researcher on the Mason River Protected Area Invasive Species Control and Habitat Restoration Project, currently underway at the Mason River Protected Area in Kareen. All right, so you guys hear what I just read?
Yes,
All right, so you guys are up for a fun session today. And I know Ms. Cross have something very interesting for you guys. And I do hope that you guys will enjoy and learn something new. As I said before, you guys can get your paper and get your pencils out and just take notes. And if you have any questions, remember at the end of the presentation, you guys will be free to ask your questions and we will respond as accurately as possible to you guys. All right. Remember to share your email in the chat section and also the school or the institution that you're joining us from so that I can give you guys a shout out at the end of the presentation. All right, so now I'll hand over to Ms. Cross, who will come to us with her presentation titled Plant Collection and Preservation. All right, go ahead, Ms. Cross.
Good afternoon, everyone. As mentioned before, my name is Sasha Lee Cross, and I'm the Assistant Botanist within the Botany Department of the Natural History Museum of Jamaica. Okay, so today I will be presenting on plant collection for research and preservation. But first, let's take a look at the Natural History Museum of Jamaica. The Natural History Museum of Jamaica is the science arm of the Institute of Jamaica. The main aim of the Natural History Museum of Jamaica is to advance scientific research and education by collecting, storing, and maintaining specimens of Jamaica's plants and animals, and educating Jamaicans on the importance of preserving the island's natural history. So, as we will be looking at plants today, let's take a look at botany. So what is botany? Botany is the scientific study of plants. Therefore, a botanist such as myself is a scientist who studies plants. But what are plants? Plants are basically multicellular living organisms that make their own food through a process called photosynthesis. There are many different types of plants around us, so we group them based on their similarities. Some of these groups you may know as flowering plants, ferns, and mosses, among many others. Here's a fun fact. So did you know that the common bamboo is a member of the grass family? Bamboos are also among the fastest growing plants in the world, with some bamboos growing up to 35 inches per day. So to imagine this, if you have your regular size ruler, you stack 3 rulers on top of each other, and that is how much a bamboo may grow per day. Did you also know that there is a bamboo that is indigenous to Jamaica called Chuskia abatifolia that flowers once every 31 years? Fun fact for you. Of course, in addition to the many important benefits plants provide us with, such as oxygen, food, and medicine, plants are very interesting, so we love to study them. Plants may be studied for various reasons, including to discover medicinal potential or to discover and document the variation of plants that exist among us. Plants that are collected for scientific interest, exhibitions, preservation, cultural or historical reasons are kept in a museum such as ours at the Natural History Museum of Jamaica. We store these plants in a place we call a herbarium. Remember that word, herbarium. A herbarium is simply a collection of preserved plants and associated information used in scientific study. Here's another fun fact. The Natural History Museum of Jamaica has the largest herbarium in the English-speaking Caribbean, as it has over 130,000 specimens of plants. The study of finding, identifying, describing, classifying, and naming plants, as well as understanding the geographic distribution of plants, is very important, as we use this information to understand changes due to habitat loss, climate change, and impacts by us humans. Here on the picture, you can also see a road being cut out, which means that vegetation had to be removed for the road to be built. So we sometimes document these plants to know what was growing there. In the unfortunate event that a plant becomes extinct, which means it no longer exists, the specimens preserved in a herbarium may represent the only record of the original distribution of the plant. This is the case for some of Jamaica's plants that have gone extinct. One such plant is called Psidium dumetorium. Through the work of botanists over the years, we have great knowledge of the different types of plants growing in Jamaica, plants that used to be in Jamaica, the different uses of the many plants found in Jamaica, and we also know that there are hundreds of plants in Jamaica that are found nowhere else in this world. These are our endemics, and they form part of our natural treasures that we are most proud of. I would like to encourage us all to do our part in preserving our treasures, our rich biodiversity, so that we can continue to learn, enjoy its benefits, and preserve it for future generations. Thank you for listening. And coming up, we have a little video on documenting how we collect plants for research and preservation. Thank you so much for listening. Here is a video of how plants are collected in the field to be used for scientific research and dry preservation. A botanist's expedition must be carefully and thoroughly planned. In order to conserve the biodiversity of the area, one has to collect plants with care, which means that if there are just a few individuals of a plant species in that area, then we have to be careful about how we collect samples. As it is not acceptable to just remember what a plant looks like, field tools such as notebooks, pencils, cameras are necessary to record important information about the plant, such as how common it is in the area, height, its flowers, fruits, or other reproductive parts, colors and sizes, and the habit, that is, how the plant grows, if it is a climbing plant, a creeper, a herb, shrub, or tree. The environment in which a plant grows, in addition to the location and altitude, landform, soil type, and the date are also to be recorded. A hand lens may be necessary to examine smaller details of the plant, and a ruler is also useful for taking measurements for some plants or plant parts. A secateur is needed for cutting specimens. A good collection should have adequate samples of all the plant organs available. A specimen may be tagged before placing them in bags for transport. The type of bag or container used for transport is dependent on the type of plant being collected. Newspaper and a plant press are necessary for pressing plants as soon as it is possible to do so after collection and before wilting and shriveling of the plant occurs. Specimens are pressed flat and dried between sheets of semi-absorbent paper. Often, newspaper is used. Each part of the plant must be carefully arranged, as this stage greatly determines the final appearance of the specimen. The plant specimens are then allowed to dry over time using heat. A microscope may be used to examine the structure of a plant at various stages after collection. As some plant species may only be determined by examining structures not easily seen, this step is sometimes extremely important. When the specimens are deemed to be dry, they are removed from the dryer and may be further examined to accurately identify the plant. Books and other herbarium samples may be used to aid in this process. The features most important for identification vary between different plant groups. After identification, specimen labels are created, the specimen mounted on a herbarium sheet, label added, and then accessioned. The specimens are then stored with strict adherence to international standards. Thank you for watching.
All right, guys. So that's the end of the presentation for today. So remember, if you guys have any questions, you guys are free to ask your questions now. You can type it below in the chat section, and then the Sashalee will answer you guys accordingly. So anybody have any questions? Nobody don't have any questions? Okay, so I have a question, Sashalee, from Shamir. She's asking, after you collect the plants, how do you identify them?
Hi, Shamir. Thank you so much for that question. So after we collect the plants, different groups will have different characteristics. So we use knowledge based on the different characteristics of different groups to help us to identify the plants. As well, sometimes we have to use books or reference material that is in-house at Natural History. All right, so someone is asking what I believe the person meant a herbarium is. So a herbarium is basically a collection of preserved plants. So preserved plants doesn't necessarily mean it has to be dry. We also have what we call wet specimens or spirit collections.
Okay, we have another question from Michaela. She's asking, why do plants go extinct?
Thank you for that question. So sometimes we don't take good care of the environment. So sometimes some plants may be very limited in their numbers and only grow at a particular place. And so if it is that we remove vegetation of that particular place, then because that plant no longer exists anywhere else, then it will go extinct. As well as some plants are also susceptible to different climatic conditions. So if there are conditions unfavorable for the plant, then it might go extinct.
Okay, another question from Teona. How do you know if the plant that you collected is the only plant left?
So we'd have to do a lot of research for that. So based off previous knowledge, some plants, when we identify them, we can check where else they exist. So if the plant is new to science, however, then say, for example, we just discovered a plant at a particular location, we won't, at that time, be able to tell if it exists other places unless we do thorough research. Hope that answers your question.
Okay. What if all the plants were eaten off? What would happen?
All right, so as plants are a major source of food for us, we would definitely not want to eat off all the plants. However, I can imagine that it would be most difficult to eat off all the plants.
All right.
All right, so there's another one. Oh, when an animal eats the plant, will it grow back? It depends on the type of plant and the part of the plant that is eaten. Some plants can regenerate from small structures, however, most plants don't. So if almost all of the plant is eaten and like the root is left, then the plant will die. There's another question that I just lost. Oh, are most plants on Earth poisonous? My answer would be no. There are many plants that are poisonous, but of course, you know, many plants that we grow for food. So many of those plants exist, and most of them, I believe, are not poisonous, though they're used for different reasons. And I must also mention sometimes that some plants that are poisonous to us humans are not poisonous to other animals.
Okay, how do you know what kind of plant not to touch?
All right, so sometimes plants will, I guess, give you a little hint by how they look. So if they have spikes and stuff, or if they have what we call trichomes, like they have many hairs, sometimes they cause irritation. So sometimes that is a good indication on which plants to touch or not touch. Also, doing a lot of research on different plants, you have memory as to which plants are dangerous to the touch and which aren't.
Okay, so how do you know where to cut a plant to get a sample?
All right, so usually we try to collect part of the plant with as much of the plant organs as possible. So I believe that somewhere around, like you would have the leaves, the reproductive organs, and you'd have at least a node or two. But it also depends, especially on the plants, because some plants are different and some plants are bigger than others. So I can't give you sometimes there are different measurements that people use, but of course it depends on the size of the plant and the different organs that are available for collection.
Okay, so here's another one. Miss, is there a plant that is alive like from when the dinosaurs were alive? Oh, is there a plant that is alive from when dinosaurs were alive?
As in, if that plant still exists, or is there different
have any
type
plants
of...
that
Well, you have plant groups that were existing when dinosaurs were existing, such as ferns, but as to if there's a plant that is still living for so long, I highly doubt that.
All right, if an animal that has poison in its mouth, like snakes, can it eat? I think if this person is asking if an animal that is poisonous, like a snake, if that would harm the plant. I think that's what the person is asking.
If the plant has also, if the poison from a poisonous animal like a snake would harm the plant?
Yes.
I don't believe it will. Because one of the reasons, sorry, continue.
Go ahead. You can.
I was saying that, say for example, a snake may be poisonous to us because when its poisonous substances get in our blood, it poisons our blood. However, I'm not sure how that would affect plants.
All right, so this person is asking, Kashan, Miss, I have 2 rabbits. One ate a half of a leaf. Why did the plant still die?
I would have to do some research on that. I'm not sure, and I don't know which plant it is. If you could tell me which plant it is, perhaps.
I'm not sure, Sashalee, but Campbell is asking, is hemlock dangerous?
A hemlock?
Yes.
What is a hemlock?
Please don't answer that, Miss. That's a type of weapon.
A type of...
Okay, are there plants with no leaves?
Yes, there are.
You can name any such plant? That's very common.
We have mosses.
It's a cactus.
Repeat that.
Means a cactus is a plant that doesn't have any leaves.
Well, some cacti species actually have leaves. And for other cactus, it may be modified or reduced.
Okay, so someone is asking, how many years can a plant live?
There are many, many different plants in the world with different things happening with them. So plants can live for different years. So some plants might live for only maybe a couple weeks, while some may live for hundreds of years. So it depends on the type of plant that we're talking about.
Okay, thanks. What does the Venus flytrap eat?
All right, so the Venus flytrap is basically a plant adapted to conditions of low nutrient. So in those situations, the Venus flytrap will actually consume
Sashalee, we're not hearing you.
Excuse me, Miss, your mic is muted.
Not sure why my mic was muted, sorry. All right, so did you hear anything at all about the Venus flytrap?
No, we're going to tell me what they ate, your mic was muted.
Oh, sorry, not sure what happened. So they actually consume small plants, small insects, sorry. So that may be small flies, those type of small insects that it will able to grasp in its modified leaves.
Does it eat dragonflies as well?
A typical dragonfly is usually too big for the Venus flytrap, so it could just pry itself out even if the Venus flytrap snaps on it. So that's why it's mostly small insects that are consumed by Venus flytraps. And of course, there are Venus flytraps in Jamaica.
But I always wonder about this question. Does a Venus flytrap has a long tongue?
No, it doesn't. We could perhaps go back to a slide I had of on a Venus flytrap. Let me see. All right.
Excuse me. Are there any plants in Jamaica that can actually eat a dragonfly?
No. The biggest carnivorous plant that the biggest carnivorous plant that we have in Jamaica is the pitcher plant. It's not native to Jamaica. However, that one is more, I guess, docile. It just sits and waits for things to fall in. So yes, a dragonfly could fall in, get trapped, and it's consumed, but it's not like an active catchment like a Venus flytrap. So yes, a pitcher plant could consume a dragonfly. However, the dragonfly would have to fly into the pitfall of the pitcher plant, and then it gets stuck in the liquid inside, and then it's digested.
Sorry, you can go ahead.
Does that answer your question?
I was asking that if do you really have a dangerous plant in the world, because I don't know of any plant that is dangerous, so I just want to ask that.
If we have dangerous plants, all right, so danger could be not necessarily like what you see, like a plant eating humans in movies, but danger could be poisonous. So there are many different plants that are poisonous. Danger could be irritation to the skin, causing a lot of blisters. So that would probably be dangerous plants.
Okay, so someone is asking, what is your favorite plant? But she's asking just what is your favorite plant, but I want you to tell them why.
What is my favorite plant? I think my favorite plant, I think I have a tie between the Jamaican rose, the cup and saucer, and the Jamaican poinsettia. Mostly because they're very gorgeous, and for the main reason that they're only, well, not only found in Jamaica, but they are endemic to Jamaica, so they're only naturally found here. So those are my two favorite plants.
Okay, is it possible you could tell us what is the most dangerous plant in the world? Is that possible? Somebody asked.
I'm not sure what the most dangerous plant in the world would be. And then you'd have to define what you mean by danger. If it's just poisonous, like very toxic, will kill you within seconds. That depends. So I'm seeing a whole lot more questions that I'm feels like, all right, so how long can plants survive without water? It depends really on the type of plants. Different plants have different requirements. So some require a lot of water, some require very little water. And so it depends on the type of plant. Kareen, you have to help me if I skip over questions because I think they're going fast. How long does it take to grow a plant? Again, it depends on the type of plant it is. Some plants will start growing within a few days. Some might take a few weeks before you see them emerging from the soil. Can a plant die because of a lot of water? Yes, plants can die because from a lot of water. So whereas you have some plants that will survive only in water, there are plants that if you give them too much water, they'll end up dying because
Excuse
root
me,
hair cells will die. Hi.
Miss, that was because I had a plant when I was 7 years old and I kept on watering it because I wanted to see it grow big. Miss, but the next day after I went out to water the plant was dried up. So I asked my mom what was happening to my plant. She said the plant is dying. So I tried to give it more water and the plant didn't revive.
Oh, well, it does not necessarily have to be the water. It could be different things. Maybe it got too much sun. Maybe the conditions were just not suitable for the plant. But yes, of course, plants can die from giving it too much water. So when you have potted plants especially, you have to also allow them to drain freely. Many of them have different types of drainage requirements. And so you have to research the needs for that particular plant that you have and are caring for.
Okay, so we have two final questions, Sashalee. Is there plants that are called hair plants?
Hair plants?
Yes.
Not to my knowledge, but plants do have hairs.
Okay.
Not like our human hairs, but
Okay, so the final question for the session is, can some plants make medicine?
Yes, and we do have a lot of plants in Jamaica that are used for medicine. So definitely yes to that. And that is why we love to study plants. And that's why plants are so important to us as well.
I know that you guys have a lot of questions, but we'll have to wrap up, guys. So I see somebody asking. All right, Sasha, I'm going to give you one question.
Okay.
Just one last question. How many plants are in Jamaica? Akila is asking that.
All right, so there are approximately 3,500, I think, different species of vascular plants in Jamaica. So I would estimate between 3,500 to 4,000 species of plants exist in Jamaica. Just because vascular plants, not counting the lower plants that are harder to study.
Okay, thank you very much, Sashalee. I really enjoyed the presentation. It was very informative, I must say that, and I do know that our participants for today enjoyed it and they did learn something. You can see for yourself based on from the chat section. They'll have a lot of questions, and I'm sorry guys, I do apologize if I didn't catch a question on time. Janelle or Jenny Williams, can you mute your mic, please? So thank you again, Sashalee, for making the time to share with us and let us know a little more about plants and their collection for research. Okay, so guys, I want to thank you guys for joining us every month. Every month you guys are dedicated, and I must thank you guys for that. I really do appreciate it, because if it wasn't for you guys, this program wouldn't be a success each month. All right, so I want to thank you and show you guys my gratitude for you joining us today. All right, so Rolling Santon, blowing up my chat.
Kareen, sorry, just to mention from another botanist at the Natural History Museum of Jamaica, he wants me to emphasize that we have to be careful about some plants that are dangerous. For example, burning sap. So unless you are sure or you know what it is, we should always handle plants with care. And I want to thank you guys for being so good today and for listening. I'll drop my email for teachers who may have some questions for you to contact me, and I will respond as best as I can and as soon as possible.
And Sashalee, is it possible you could share a link with them, the medicinal booklet? Do you have a link for that? That they could access it online? I'm not sure.
The database that we have on
Yes, the
natural history.
database that you guys have.
All right, so I could just quickly look for that.
And just put it in the chat along with your email address.
All right, so you can continue while I look.
Okay, so guys, I see Rolling Town, they're blowing up my chat, and I promise you guys that I will give you guys a shout out. So Rolling Town, oh my God, you guys are so faithful. So you guys are here with me every single month, and I really appreciate it. For you guys taking the time out, I really appreciate the teachers and the principal, you know, for always letting the students join in with us. Also, I'm seeing St. George's for girls. I'm seeing you guys, and I do welcome you guys, and I thank you guys for joining us today. You guys are always here with us also, and we just want to show our gratitude for that. Thank you guys so much for your email addresses. We will contact you guys with other programs that we're having here at the Natural History Museum of Jamaica, and Ms. Cross just shared the link below for the medicinal database. That's right. That's right, Sash? That's the link for the database? Okay, so she shared the link with the for the medicinal database. The teachers, you can access information on plants and their medicinal benefits from that database. And also she shared her email address. So if students, if you have any questions, parents, if you have any questions, teachers, anybody, if you have any questions about plants, feel free to contact her via email, and she would be grateful to answer your questions. All right, guys, so I want everybody to turn on the mic and say thank you, Auntie Sasha.
Thank you, Auntie Sasha.
Thank you, Auntie Sasha. Thank you, Auntie Sasha.
Okay, thanks, guys.
You're most welcome.
And I'm seeing, before I go, I'm seeing Ava Tomlinson from Nepal. Thank you, Ava, for joining us.
Thank you. Can I just share something with your audience?
Sure, you can.
We'll be having the second National Biodiversity Conference, and there is a poster competition called Nature's Benefits to People. And there is, you have persons eligible 10 years and under, 11 to 15 years, and 16 to 18 years who can enter. So I'd like to send the details to you, Ms. Parks. Can I give it to Ms. Cole?
Sure, you can.
Right, and kindly share it with your audience if they are willing. The submission date, it's to be submitted to the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment, and Climate Change. The contact information is there, and the date for this is December 31 at 5 p.m. for submission.
Okay.
This poster competition.
Okay, Eva, so I'll definitely share, you guys, you can just send over the poster to Eartha, and
Absolutely.
I'll definitely share it with my contacts. Okay, guys, so thank you guys for today, and I do hope you guys enjoy yourself. So have a great day.
Yes, miss.
And remember to keep safe, all right?
Bye, Miss.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye, Miss.
Thank you,
Bye.
Auntie.
Thank you, Auntie Sasha.
Miss. Sasha.